Hey guys, I'm going to be teaching a lower body focused class. Now we're about to head into May, and this is our summer sleigh challenge in addition to summer sculpted legs. So for this next month, we really want to focus on the lower body, although we still want to work the core and the upper body a little bit. So I will probably consider this like I'll let you know like what is tone vibes and what is sculpt vibes and flow so that we can adjust the intensity. Now, starting out with footwork, I would go all 5 springs on, and then we even want to start to have clients use those preloads. So if clients are used to doing 3 reds and a blue, tell them to do a high blue so that they can add that blue up a notch, and that way we can start to progressively load clients' legs. Okay, I'm gonna grab the ball. This will definitely be useful for sculpt and tone classes. For flow, I would probably just do the base footwork, less intense, although you can add in some of these variations, like the supersets. And I actually had one client, she was like, I was going into Dana's class and she was like, oh, Dana alternated between leg press and bridge. And she's like, I really appreciated that because it broke it up a little bit. So you could consider that for your flow class as well. So I'm going to lay back. I have 4 springs on. I have my weights, of course, and the ball is going to go right between the inner thighs because that's just going to add a level of intensity, especially for May. And then we'll start with those heels on, parallel. Do your leg press outs here for 30 seconds. Do all your nutshell concepts. Watch one of my previous videos to go through that. After 30 seconds, we're gonna superset for this month. So we're gonna lift the hips and lower. This I would consider your gym vibes, your sculpt vibes with the superset. For tone class, do your 30 seconds of press outs and then come in halfway pulse, because tone is bar vibes. So we want to add some extra pulses, and I would pulse up and down 15 seconds and then hold, pulse the ball for 15 seconds. So you can see how both of the variations are going to be a little similar yet different. And then press out. Come in. We're going to go arches on, elbow taps. You're going to start to learn this similar sequence. This way we can work through all the different points of the feet, heels, arches, and toes. And then again, for sculpt class, we're going to load the hips, lift and lower. Okay. And then for tone class, we're going to do pulse variations and then press all the way out. And then we'll go down to the toes, skull crushers, time everything for 30 seconds, out and in, okay? And then you have tone vibes where we're gonna come in and pulse the ball, or sculpt vibes where we're gonna lift the hips and lower the hips, okay? Now, after you've completed all of those rounds, we'll then put the ball behind the right leg, left heel on the bar. This right leg's gonna be in tabletop. We're gonna do our chest press here. So we're gonna skip the heels wide. We're gonna start to progressively load single leg, out and in, okay? After your 30 seconds, for tone, come in and pulse, okay? Or for sculpt, we're gonna come in and do that superset again, single leg. So up and down, 30 seconds each variation. You can even progress it to 45 seconds because it is May. We want to fatigue everyone's legs. And then we go to the right heel. We're going to hug a tree, out and in, okay? For tone, we're going to do pulses for 30 seconds. And then sculpt, we're going to do hip hinge. Now clients can use just one weight or they can use both weights. They can load it up. Give that option. Now, after you've done 5 rounds, we tuck that ball away. Of course, we're going to finish with our calf raises. So you've got those 30 seconds of calf raises and then 30 seconds of prancing right here. All right, now come all the way in. In my flow classes, I almost always add in some ab work. So think about your series of 5. You can do your single leg stretch, You can do your double leg stretch. You can do your scissor stretch, your double leg lower lift, and or your crisscross. Now for a flow class, I'd probably just do 2 sets and keep it, 30 seconds each. So it'd be a minute of abs. Because we just worked the legs a bunch, we want to give them a quick break and work the core. Of course, this is Pilates. So that would be flow class. For tone class, let's see. I would probably grab the ball. So for tone class, we're thinking bar vibes, right? We want to have that ball. Now I would probably do like a scissor with a leg pass and or like a double leg lower lift, right? Or you could do like a dolphin tail here. Now for tone class, I would do 3 rounds. Make it a minute and a half. You can even do like your TikTok, just a classic little Pilates move here, TikTok side to side. Okay. For the ab circuit, and do 3 rounds because you want to make it a little longer, a little more intense. And then for sculpt class, I want to use the weights, okay? Let's use just 1 weight though. So last week I did a little single weight up and then do that single leg stretch. I would repeat that and maybe even add a twist. So adding that rotation side to side. If clients have a weight that's 5 pounds or less, sometimes I like to put the weight in the feet and do a weighted double leg lower lift. That's definitely going to give you gym vibes. And also double leg stretch. So anything that you can do with that weight in hand, add that in. Again, 3 rounds of abs. Then of course we can do a few roll-ups. Everyone's abs are going to be toasted, so the roll-ups are going to be a little bit harder, but you still want to add like 15 to 20 seconds into roll-ups. Okay, so this is going to be booty and leg month, right? But we still want to incorporate the whole body. So I would probably still do some kind of hands and straps, but superset it. So I think you could probably do this for all 3 styles of classes. Just adding in different variations. For tone class, throw the ball in there. So resting all the way back down. For your flow class, give them the option, red, blue for medium, 2 reds for light. For upper body, we're gonna do some hands and straps, okay? So arms up, legs in table, do your normal hands and strap variations. I honestly probably wouldn't superset for flow, okay? And then triceps, add your progressions, and then T-press, probably limit it to just 3 rounds, okay, for your flow class. And then after flow class, or for flow class still, but after the hands and straps, take them into a couple more rounds of bridge, now on this lighter spring, okay? So we did bridge during your footwork and everything, but now, and that would be on 3 to 5 spring, or yeah, 4 to 5 springs. Now when you bridge 2 springs, a lot more hamstring, right? And we're working the legs. So I would add in a little extra bridge. Now for my sculpt class, I'm gonna think superset again with the upper body. So you're gonna do your lat pull down, add your crunch and your leg reach and all of that good stuff. Do 30 seconds here. And then after 30 seconds, hold the arms up, heels down. We're gonna do our bridge. So we're gonna alternate. Go for 30 seconds, and then we're gonna do triceps, 30 seconds, add your progressions. Arms up, you guessed it. Do your bridge. You can add whatever variations, okay? And then we go T-press 30 seconds, and you know the drill. And then we're going to do that hip hinge up and down. Okay, now probably for my tone class, I am thinking about adding the ball somewhere, okay? So for tone class, put the ball under the hips. We're probably not going to bridge, or superset here, but do your lat pull down. I would keep the head down just to anchor the pelvis. Do your tricep press. And then after your lats, your tris, I would take the ball out, put it between the ankles, and finish with your T's. But tone class, just adding in that ball a little bit more, because whenever you go to a bar class, that ball is going to get used a whole bunch. And then after that, we can do, our bridges with the ball, and it could be between the knees. You can reach it up to the ceiling, put it in the hands, any type of variation here with that ball. Okay, now we're going to come up nice and warmed up here. I'd probably say maybe we're like 15, 18 minutes into class. We're still working the lower body. We want to work that upper body as well. One of my favorite sequences to do is on just one red spring, and I love this little flow. So you can start 4-point kneeling, facing toward the mirror here. I'd probably bring the hands off the shoulder blocks, do a little cat-cow. Again, blue for lighter, red for heavier. Give options, okay? And then put your foot in the strap. Now, I would probably only do this kneeling work with like my tone and sculpt. It's not completely out of the question for flow, but I would just do them side lying. So for tone and sculpt, let's do that arabesque leg up and down, 30 seconds, and then do your donkey kick, bend and press. This is all going to target the glute max, hip extensors. After those 30 seconds, come down onto the elbow, and then we're going to do our bend and press here. So this is now round 3. Our sweeps forward and back. This would be round 4 or set number 4. And the variations go on. You can do bicycles. I probably would only do like 4 or 5 rounds. You don't want to like burn everybody out so much, but we definitely want to challenge them. After that, maybe I'm thinking about a reset here, because we're just on the hands and knees. Now we're on the elbow. I would probably have everybody lay back and, do some kind of reset. But I'm thinking about like still utilizing the springs and the straps. So what can I do here on my one red? And I have my ball handy. So I would probably do some core just to give everything a break, but we're gonna use the straps. So we're gonna put feet in the straps and then start to do some up downs right here. Up and down. Squeeze that ball, control. It's a red light spring, so it's going to make it a little bit lighter. Hold, do some 100 here. I would just go for about 30 counts. And then maybe today we do a little dolphin tail. Up, down, right? So go here for another 30 and then reverse it for 30 seconds. Okay, and then after that, hang up the straps. And for sculpt class, maybe we work the core a little bit longer. Ball goes right underneath the shoulder blades, heels on that foot bar, hands could be down or behind the head, and let's do some little jumps off the foot bar. You don't even need to set the jump board up for that. Now, we can do this in sculpt class and tone class, but what are some more like dancer variations? For tone, I would probably do like a little changement. Is that what it's called? I don't, yeah, we'll call it like a little crisscross. It's called something. For sculpt class, you can do single leg stretch. You can do like a little bicycle here, right? Switch. Do, I would say 2 to 3 rounds of whatever variation. Make it applicable for your style of class you're teaching, and then do, I always love a little calf raise jump. These are hard as shit. and then come in and rest. So now the legs got a nice big break, abs were working. We don't have to get super complicated, okay? So we're just gonna start from the top, okay? And we're gonna do those leg sweeps on the other side. You can always offer clients to put their foot in that small strap. That would make it a little bit heavier. And again, hands probably off those shoulder blocks. We're gonna go up and down, time it for 30 seconds, and then bend and press. Now for the flow class, I would probably just have clients lay on their side and put their head on the ball, right? And then do the side lying because you want to eliminate the shoulder and the wrist factors and all of the things. But for these intermediate classes, we definitely want to go here. And then leg sweeps forward and back. Okay, so that just completed that whole like pyramid. So we did something on the right, in the middle, and on the left. And then I'm popping up and I'm on this side of the reformer. I'm on a red spring. So what can I do right here? I can do some flying planks, keep the spring tension the same, just for a little bit more support, right? We're gonna do some flamingos. We're gonna do some leg sweeps. You could even start to do like a flamingo crossover. Pick 2 variations of flying planks and then bring it down. It's leg month, so I want to work the booty. Let's do some scooters. Pop on a blue really quick. One spring is too light, in my opinion. So pop on a blue, foot against that shoulder block, get low. We go out and in, out and in. Now for scooters, sometimes 30 seconds just doesn't feel like it's enough. So do this for 45 seconds, okay? And then after that, I'm on a red and a blue. I'm just gonna make a easy transition across the reformer because I'm gonna need to go to the left side anyway, but I'm gonna do our knee stretches. So add in the classic Pilates. Red blue is gonna feel good. It's gonna get the quads burning. Start with your flat back. What do I do? Round back maybe, and go out and in. Even the red blue still feels a little bit light to me, so I would maybe even do 2 reds here. 30 seconds, and then 30 seconds flat back. You're pushing through the legs, out and in, and then maybe even, knees off, 30 seconds, in and out. This is knee stretch, knees off, okay? After that, bring it down. We're still on a red blue. Let's just kind of do it in reverse so we don't have to take off and add on twice. So go back to scooters over here, out and in, okay? And then we can take off that blue and go into your minute of flying planks, okay? Do all of that. The stretch is built into the exercise, okay? So I wouldn't necessarily sit and do a figure 4 stretch, especially in the intermediate classes. But after you do that, everyone's gonna be cooked. So you might wanna do something nice and say, let's see, it was still upper body month, but maybe we do like upper body and core. I'm still on a red, so I'm just thinking about being efficient with my spring change. What can I do in these different positions? Intermediate class, maybe we don't lay down, but maybe we come to a kneeling position, facing back for some reverse knee pulls, because it's gonna work the upper body, the core. This is how you're gonna work your hip flexors and your abs. So hands out in front, maybe do your round back here, just like your knee stretches. Go for your 30 seconds, and then go into your flat back, 30 seconds, out and in. And then everybody's wrists and shoulders are gonna be cooked. We're still on that red. So come right up into a little chest expansion. Kneeling, press back and forth. Maybe grab up at those knots as you go out and in. Okay, maybe a little bit of bow and arrow. I would do at least 2 or 3 things here as a reset. Still working a little bit of shoulders, okay? And one more thing, the bicep curls here just don't really feel like curls to me. It's more of a shoulder exercise. If you think about your arm holding out here, your shoulder is working against gravity, pulling you down to hold you here. Okay, so I'm on a red, I'm thinking, right? So many other things, maybe do a little thigh stretch, but I would want to scoot back so I have more tension in that red spring because that'll give you more support. Another little classic. So just lean back, thigh stretch, lean forward. You don't have to go back very far to feel it. Back and in, right? And then hang up those straps. Also, in a perfect position to just come down and do a couple planks. So elbows down, press out, knee stretches again right here. It's gonna work your quads, but maybe we add a little twist. Knee to opposite elbow, back out, in and out, okay? It's probably it's probably nearing the end of class, but I can still then straddle all on this one red. Grab those straps. Let's take it to a little full body high row. That feels too light to me. Cross the straps, choke up, high row. Ooh, yeah, there we go. Pull it back, get nice and low in that squat. Maybe do a little low row here. Maybe do some pulses, tone class. Okay, I'm sure we could do a single arm, but just less resistance. Take it back to that bow and arrow. Whew. That would probably be a good 50-minute class. Time it out. Focus on the legs, working the quads. So you want to think about your quad. The quad works to straighten the leg. So anytime you're pushing the leg straight, footwork, that's going to be your quad focus, okay? Anytime that we're in hip extension and knee flexion, that's going to be hamstring. Okay, so I'll show you. So this is knee flexion. This is hip flexion currently, but when I lift up, this is hip extension. Now, the glutes are working a little bit, but this is a major hamstring exercise. The back of the thigh is working with knee flexion and hip extension. Now, this shoulder bridge is different because the feet are starting higher than the hips and the shoulders, right? So a lot of hamstring here. If you want to target the glutes, you need to start with your shoulders higher than your feet. So you sit down, shoulders against the edge of the carriage, and we do some hip thrusts here. That's going to work your glute because that's primarily hip extension, okay? And it's just like when you go to the gym and you're doing hip thrusts, this is always where we do it from. Now we're a little bit limited in the Pilates studio because our heaviest weights are 10 pounds. So I'd encourage clients to grab some heavy weights this month. Okay, so we talked about quad, we talked about hamstring, what muscles we're working. Now, when hips are extended here, this would be like hyperextended. This would be flexion of that hip flexor of your psoas. So when we're doing that leg sweep back, that's hip extension. Now that's gonna work your glute max, okay? And then donkey kicks, bend in, press out, and lift that leg up to work your booty, okay? Then we have the ball between the inner thighs, your adductor muscles. We have 5 muscles in the inner thighs. Those muscles also assist with knee extension. So when you're doing a squat and then you're standing back up, your quads are working, but also the adductors work to extend the knee. So calf raises, that's also part of the leg. We want to get those calves working. I think that abduction, adduction. Okay, so whenever we are taking the leg to the side, that's abduction, take away. It's going to work the outer part of your hip. a lot of glute medius, and actually the glute medius works best when you internally rotate. So you have, think side foot and strap. When we sweep the foot forward and turn the toes down and then just pulse that heel up, you're medially rotated, internally rotated, and you're doing that little pulse. That's going to work your glute med, the outer part of the hip. And adduction, obviously, when we're laying down with feet in straps and you're pulling the legs in together, that's adducting, pulling inward or adding together. So during today's class, or during this month's focus, we want to focus on working the lower body. I want us to start to incorporate what muscles we're working, why it's important, okay? Even if you do some like transitions seated off the edge of the carriage and just do some like sit to stand stuff, this is super functional, especially for our older clientele. And we do that because as our clients get older, the risk of fall goes up, and if they fall, their risk of dying goes up within the next 2 years. That's just statistics. Like if an older client falls and breaks a hip, statistically they'll die within the next 2 years. So we want to enforce how important that is. You can choose how to deliver that message. You can say it just like that, or you can deliver it a little softer. But think about what muscles we're working, why, what's the benefit other than toning and sculpting and like the aesthetics of things, right? We're being very functional with this month. So strengthening the hips, especially for us women, your hips are like a crucial sign also of like just your overall health, how strong your glutes and your hips are. Not only does it tell you, you know, if somebody can be maternal and things like that, which is a sign of health, but strengthening those glutes is so important. We want to load clients, make it heavy, especially with those scooters. Another thing with a lot of women is as we get older, we're going to go through perimenopause and menopause. If you're not there yet, you will be. I'm not there yet, but something I'm looking forward to. And your muscle is your longevity organ. So we have to keep our muscles. We have to just continue to get stronger and progress. It's pretty difficult in the Pilates studio because we don't have heavy weights. We're not working with weight vertically. We're working with it horizontally with the spring tension. So you have to get creative with where your body is in space in proportion to the spring and the vector of like where you're pressing and things like that. So we want to build the muscle. We need to load the legs. The legs are the strongest part of the body. And again, as we get older, it is more crucial for bone health. Now, to stimulate bone, you have to lift heavy. You have to add impact and intensity. That means Pilates is generally low impact, right? But if we can get clients jumping and adding impact, because just walking isn't going to do it. There's studies on that. You have to add impact. You have to go faster, and you have to make it heavier. That's going to stimulate muscle. That's going to stimulate growth and bone and longevity. And that's really the goal, is to help clients move fearlessly and get stronger. That's our mission of the studio. Fearless movement. So if we're afraid to make things heavy, we're unintentionally instilling that fear in our client. We need to be empowering, and we need to use positive language. So we want to avoid any cues like, don't let your knees go over your toes, because that implies a negative outcome. And we want positive outcomes. Our clients are anti-fragile. That means the more stimulus, the more vigor, the more zest. That's what Joe Pilates said. That we give them during classes, the stronger they're going to feel, and the more they're going to want to come back to our classes. But it has to make sense. It has to be functional. Don't just look at things that are on Instagram that look cool. Like, if you're feeling a little stuck right now, just start to dive down the rabbit hole of the exercise science and things like that, and how to actually help clients build strength and see results and longevity. So, and how we can apply that, or get creative on how you can like apply that to the Pilates studio specifically. So that's my little spiel about May. Heavier, faster, harder, okay? Work the core, add in the contrology. You can add it in here, just on the edge of the mat. I know Tiana has done like some kind of a drop set that I really like here. So do 5 squats, right? And then we go down and we do some abs and then come up and do 4 squats. So kind of a little pyramid drop set with that too. That'll increase the intensity and that'll level everyone's class up. So let me know if you like this. I'll continue to make them throughout May and just give a little bit more ideas, but use this as your base. And if you're brand new, if you're a teacher trainer, I'm gonna give you a class that you'll have to use. But use this and then build from it. And don't be afraid to teach the same thing. You could teach the same class for the whole month even, okay? But continue to progress it, make things heavier, go a little bit longer, add a different prop. Do the ball one week, do the circle the next week, do the booty band the next week, something else the last week. You have about 4 weeks in May. You don't have to reinvent the wheel every single week. You're gonna get burned out if you're continuously, making up a new class. Have a base class for the whole month. Use that to help track progress in clients, okay? One more thing about lunges and spring tension. So whenever you're doing lunges standing, the red is a whole spring, okay? Now, when you're doing your lunge here, the red's gonna be a little harder to press out, but it actually helps you to come back in. Now, what's the focus for this exercise? It's a vertical press out, okay? So we could argue some glutes, hip extensors, right? But I would say it's this standing leg. It's a body weight exercise. If the red is helping to pull me in, that's easier. So switch it to a blue, okay? It's gonna be a little easier to press out. So less hip extensor here, and then more lunge quad glute connection with that standing leg. Progress it again, switch it to a yellow, okay? Now the yellow is super easy to press out, a lot more effort to come back in. Now I actually feel this leg working. And then you wanna level it up one more time, grab those weights, because we're gonna load the leg. Now for leg month, we don't really have to do anything fancy with the upper body, but just go down, reach the weights down, and then stand back up through that leg. That's gonna fire the glute up, okay? Now, the angle of your body is also going to change the muscle focus. So if I'm lunging with my chest upright, that's gonna be mostly quad, extension of the knee. Now, think about when I hinge forward, I'm gonna stretch my glute more and then drive through the heel to come up. That's gonna be more glute focus. So the angle of the body is also going to change the focus of the muscle. Let's do lots of lunges. Add the sidecar, make it harder. Add weights, do it on yellow. Just for shits and giggles, let's test it out on no springs. So no springs, we go out and we come all the way in. That's all leg working there. Okay, I think that's good for now. Let me know if you guys like this.